All right. Good evening, everybody. Happy Friday. Yeah, it's Friday. That's true. Okay, so let's have some nice little hot take here and fix some themes in the process. I know how to fix Falcons and Navi both with one single move. Now, how on earth am I gonna do that? Well, it's very simple actually. I think all you need to fix these two teams is a very simple trade. You take one player from one team, give it to other. Just switch two players. That's it. And who are these players? It's Alexi B and Kixon. That's it. That's how we're gonna fix it. That's how we're gonna fix both Navi and Falcons. So before I get ahead of myself, little background. I've been looking Navi quite a bit lately, seeing how they're playing, how poorly they're playing, how things are going very poorly there. And I think a lot of that is because there's some mental issues in the team. I don't think that's at all due them not just being good enough to do well. They clearly are. They have been doing quite well during the past year, or during the last year, not the past year, because they've still struggled. Anyways, they've been doing quite well. They can do well. They know how to play. It's not that. There must be some sort of mental blockage there. There's something that's preventing them from doing well. Something either souring the mood, something preventing them from getting things done like they used to, and the individuals, they're just not doing as well as they used to. And of course, one thing could be that maybe other teams just now adapted to them and their style because they did so well last year. People had to figure out how they play. It could very well be. Who knows? But what I do think is that there's some sort of mental thing going on. And the difficult thing here is that when you have a mental blockage of sort, something that's gonna sour the whole thing, it's really hard to kind of like get rid of that. Because if it's just your skills that are lacking, you can train that, you can get back to the level you used to be, you can improve, you can relearn what you already knew. It's actually rather simple process. Like once you reach the level of skill needed, even if you drop all the way down here, it's gonna be pretty easy to climb back up because you have already been there. But it's not that easy for the mental side. And if you start to have trouble with your teammates or your own self-confidence, just because it once was there, it's not that easy to kind of get back. And I think in Navi's case, the situation is that they're gonna need a roster change. Simply because I don't think they have the... How do I phrase it? I don't think they have what it takes to actually get over whatever slump they're at currently. Because they would need to start winning pretty clearly to get over that kind of like slump. But the problem is they're not winning clearly, and they are not going to start winning clearly just magically. They need to fix whatever's going on, and I don't think they're going to be able to do that. The team needs something new, a fresh start of sort. I don't think this team needs to be disbanded or anything like that. They're a good team. The players are quite good. They know what they're doing. But it needs something new. It needs something to kind of like get the bad blood out and move on. So why would I be throwing Alexi B out and not someone else? The thing is because he is the captain of the team. When things go wrong, people start pointing fingers at some point. They might not do that like publicly, they might not say it out loud, but in their heads, they're gonna start pointing fingers. Who are they gonna point the fingers towards? It's most likely gonna be the person who is the head of the team, the person who's always put on the pedestal, who's always being talked about. It's Alexi B's Navi. It's Alexi B. He's the IGL. He's basically the captain of the team, which means he's kind of like the target there. Simply because of his position. So swapping him out might actually help get over this slump and get kind of like more neutral moods back in, be less hostile. Could be, of course, wrong. I don't know how these people do in their personal lives or their team environment. Not associated with any of that. So speculation. But yeah, so I do think that would help. And at the same time, when things go very poorly, it's very easy to see this in many top teams, but they always seem to lose their faith to their IGL first. And once that faith has been lost, there's no going back. Very easy example, let's just think about Carrigan in FaZe back in the day. He was booted out because the team lost faith in him. Now he's back. He's been doing very well, but he needed to get that kind of like reputation back somewhere else. So he would then be able to return, get things going again. And I think this is kind of like where it's going with Navi, because if they're not starting to, if they don't start winning all of a sudden, they're gonna lose their faith on Alexi and his leadership. It's just a very natural thing to happen. And then on the other side, we have Falcons. They have the pieces to do well. I'm not saying that they should be winning titles with the lineup they have, but they should be doing better than they are. And it's very clear that they also have mental issues there, because you see it so often they have a huge lead and they all of a sudden melt. It's like the last open game against, was it Virtus Pro? I think so. Where they basically had 3 maps. They were leading all of them. First one they managed to close just before the comeback happened. It was like, what, 10-13 or 13-11 or something like that. I don't remember exactly. Second one, they failed. They lost. I don't remember if it was like overtime or a close game otherwise. But still, the principle matters, not the exact numbers. But the thing is, they fail to close maps. They always fail to close maps, it seems like. They can be doing very well, and then they just like come down. And that's it. Nothing works out. And the players, they start doing desperation plays. They forget what they need to actually do. And funnily enough, you know who that reminds me of? Younger Alexi B and his teams. That was a very common thing with Alexi and his teams. They were really good at doing comebacks. Like, that's one of the things that I think Alexi B has always been really good with his teams. They're really good at comebacking. They never quit. They're always able to fight and keep fighting and pushing until the game is over. But if they were in the lead, those were rough games to watch. Those were really rough games to watch. And yeah, still having nightmares of that. Was it again? It was the NIP against Apex in, was it Paris Major? I don't remember exactly, but yeah, that game. Painful. But it is a good example. Anyways, and yeah, the mental issue is there on Falcon's side too. They fail to close their maps. They struggle with that. I think they need a change. They need something fresh to their lineup that's gonna push them over this. And okay, I wanna do this on one go, but I'm still recovering from some bugs. Anyways, back to the recording. What I was saying, oh boy. Yes. So Falcons, they need something new. And why I do think it would be good to change the IGL out is because I think Kixon is an IGL who has potential. But the thing is, going into Falcons from a team like Heroic, it's just a bad jump to do, because sure, Heroic was never a bad team by any means, but it wasn't exactly the top contender either. And then you go arguably to the most hated, or at least top 2 most hated team there is currently. Not sure if it's Falcons or Astralis who people hate more. Pretty tough to say. But anyways, it's just gonna put you under so much pressure. And I don't think he's yet ready to handle that as a leader and captain. I mean, yeah, in a team when you have Nico, I would say he probably is the kind of like, if not official and unofficial captain of the team or the face of the team, naturally. But even still, you're the one calling the shots. You need to be confident in your own abilities and your team. And I think he might need a little bit more time and experience. Who does this remind me of? Again, Alexi B. He went to the G2 stint after OG, and I think that was too much for him. It was too big of a jump because G2 was always a team that was supposed to be battling off the brightest trophies. And then he was put in there, and it didn't go as well as it was supposed to. In the beginning, they did very well. I think they were second in Katowice, and there was some, like, if I remember this correctly, it was that amazing final with them against FaZe Clan, who had a stand-in maybe at the time. Was it Jacobs who was standing in back there? But anyways, I think it was like a 3-0, but it was the closest 3-0 I've ever seen, where every map was basically a tight game or overtime or something like that. It was a good game, and if I remember this right, G2 didn't have their coach with them at the time. Maybe he was sick or unavailable. I don't remember actually what was going on there. There was some like unlucky situation with that could have turned it around. After that, there was some other unlucky situations. I think Alexi got sick with COVID in the next tournament or tournament after that. And then there was some other issues like that. And then it's like it started very well and then just fizzled out. Things didn't work out. People lost confidence outside and inside the team by the looks of it. And he was kicked out. I think it was just too much too soon on his progression between OG and G2. He needed something else there. And yeah, I think Kixon's in the same boat. He needs a little bit more experience on the top without being the target of all that hatred and that hostility. And then when we flip it around again, Alex B, he's already been through a lot of hatred and hostility from the fan base and from the viewers and followers of CS2 or CSGO and CS2. I think ever since basically like he became one of Torin's favorite IGLs, people just started hating even more. It's been really rough for him, I would assume. And it has shown in his career that he's been really struggling with with reaching the top. But I think now he's kind of like there. Like before going to Navi, he wasn't the IGL he's now. But now after working with Blade, I think he's finally like gained that confidence and ability to actually do what he needs to do as an IGL to keep his himself in check. And yeah, he's not perfect. No one is perfect. But I do think to a team like Falcons, he would be a really good fit. Because he's been always good keeping the mentality strong. Like, even if he's always had trouble closing the games in early his career, he's always been getting better at that. And he's been gaining so much hate and criticism during his life that going to an organization like Falcons, I don't think that would be really facing him at all anymore. And he's been playing with Nico in the past. My understanding from interviews, talks behind the scene that came public and so on, it seemed like Nico and Alexi, they always got along very well. So I highly doubt that he was the reason Alexi was cut from G2. And even if he was, well, let's remember what happened after. Nico used to play a long time with Hooksy and then Snacks, and their IGLing has not been exactly praised for its greatness. So I do think he probably would be willing to actually revisit this IGL again. So yeah, I do think Alexi B would be a good fit for Falcons in that sense. He probably would bring the kind of like experience and confidence to the team that they might be able to keep their focus in when it actually matters. Like when they are leading 11-7 or something like that, that they can then get the final 2 rounds, lock the game in and move on. I think he might bring just that, because right now it seems like the moment they are leading, if they don't immediately close the map, it just fizzles out. People get desperate and they get in their heads like, we should win this game. Oh boy, maybe I should do that like extra peek here. No, I lost that game again. Oh my goodness, what if we're gonna lose now because I failed this round? And it just spirals. It's not pretty to look at. So I think like the experience he now has after working with Blade, winning a major, becoming IGL of the year, and getting a lot of criticism, even so, I think he might be really good for that job. And then let's flip back to the Kixon. I think going to Navi and working with a coach like Blade might be really helpful for his career and development, because Blade is a miracle worker, it seems like. I think he can make anybody work as an IGL if he just has his own faith in that person. I do think Kixon has potential. Working with Blade would probably make him a very well-rounded and good IGL. It would bring the freshness to the team that would probably at least temporarily help with the negative aura going inside the team, or whatever you would call it, I don't know. So I think that might be actually really beneficial for them. And that's kind of like the whole conclusion of the idea here. I think these both teams might actually benefit a lot if they just swap these 2 players and let that be it. It's and yeah, the thing is, I know it's hard to justify kicking IGL like Alexi from a team because they did well with him. He's a good IGL. It's hard to upgrade from Alexi. But yeah, it's like when the problem is in the mental side of the game, you need some changes usually to make that go away. It's very rare to see people actually work over those issues and return to like the high hills again. And maybe, sure, it could be I'm just reading the situation completely wrong. It's entirely possible. But I do think it would be worth looking into, at least. Hypothetically. Spoiler, it's never gonna happen. I highly doubt that would ever even happen. But that's the fun of it. I do think that's something that would really benefit both teams. And yeah, I would also not be mad seeing it, because I think it would help every party involved. Alexi B and his leading, what we've seen with Navi right now, it's kind of similar to like what FaZe was in the early CS2, because they were playing very good tactical game, but so much relied on the players actually hitting their shots and doing well. Navi, during their like little mini era in 2024, it was heavily relying on clutches and tight rounds and comebacks, and it was never just like dominance. It was always hard fought, hard earned victories. And right now they don't have that. And one of the reasons is because the team, they don't have that like superstar power who can just win the game simply being themselves. Going to Falcons, he would have Nico there. I think that would be what he needs to kind of like keep going, because there's no other player like Nico. He's one of a kind, and I doubt we're gonna see anyone like him anytime soon. He's just a phenomenal player. I do think that would solve so many of problems with that kind of style of winning. It's like it's the structure that gets you into places, but you need the players to make the structure work and actually push yourself over the edge. Now he would have that in very reliable sense. And like Navi players, they're good players, and I do think they can still compete for trophies, absolutely. But they need to get over their mental issues. Maybe having a new IGL of Kixon there would do that, because I don't think he would be inclined to question blade system and everything that's kind of like put in front of him from the get-go, because he's still kind of getting the experience in himself to a degree, I would say. So if that's the case, I think it might be just what the team needs to kind of cool down a little bit. It also gives the excuse to do a little bit more poorly, if you will. And that might be just what you need. Just to kind of get the ball rolling without having that immense expectations on your shoulders. Get to know a new person. Have a little fresh start. Work on things. It's still Blade system. It's not going anywhere. I think he's a phenomenal person at his job, so no doubt they could make it work. And give it a few months. Who knows, maybe they would actually be there competing for titles again. Wouldn't put it past that team at all. So yeah, that's about it. Those are my Friday thoughts. I don't know if there's any clear pitfalls I'm not looking at or thinking about. It doesn't really matter. Just a fun little idea. Something I've been well, I can't even say I've been thinking about it. Just popped on my head randomly, and I thought yeah, let's make a video about it. Let's talk about it. Let's see what happens there. It's not a move that's ever gonna happen, but it's a fun thought experiment. I think it would work. At least to an extent. Yeah. I mean, if there's anybody who actually watched the video, let me know what you think about it. Maybe you have some opinions or thoughts that completely persuade me the other direction, or something that I never even thought about. Who knows? But yeah, thanks for watching. It's been a pleasure. See you again next time.